Well, I think that this PBD, which is the 18th edition now is being held, has become a major instrument of our connecting enterprise with the Indian diaspora, which exceeds about 35 million, and one of the largest diasporas in the world, which also remits the highest amount of foreign exchange to India, exceeding over $125 billion. Today, they are making a great mark in every country, wherever they are. As you know, that more than 25 top multinational companies are headed by these Indians, including all the latest tech companies, and they are all interested in developing in India and looking at India. In fact, 2 days before, Satya Nadella called on Prime Minister Modi. So obviously, they can play a great role in the development of India. And as Prime Minister said, that the Indian diaspora had played a stellar role in 1947 for our independence, in the run-up to the independence, and now for the Viksit Bharat also, they could become a major instrument of development and bring about technologies. So tourism, trade, technology, these are very important connect. Besides, there has been a greater focus, as you rightly mentioned, on creating or enabling their connection through religious journeys, for example, Buddha circuit, and now this train for Tirth Yatra, which is going there for about 3 weeks as Doordarshan. Now, this provides them because a large number of children of the diaspora, especially in the West, are not really exposed to the real India. So it is also in that sense tells them a little bit about their ancient heritage. Of course, they are important citizens. They are very, very responsible citizens contributing to their own countries of residence. But their heart still throbs for India, I guess. And so I believe that this is something that is very important. And Prime Minister has very clearly mentioned. Besides, it also tells them that what India is doing is not merely on the newspaper story. They see the real progress when they are here. So when we say that India is a democracy, India is a diverse country, when it's coming from Prime Minister and these guys going around, and when they see it for themselves, they do that. Besides, the youth connect is extremely important. And so Prime Minister is saying that each young person should bring five more, is basically multiplying it by five. And maybe the locals, people can come to study. So they can be the real ambassadors, as Prime Minister also is very fond of calling all the Indian diaspora as the Indian ambassadors of culture in their respective countries, and basically the bridges. I have myself seen in the 90s that how important they were in bringing about all the IT, making India a big IT power is actually a great credit goes to the our PIOs and NRIs who are working abroad in different countries. They used to be treated as a brain drain, but eventually, as a result of the government's efforts, which started off with Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and it has become a brain gain, and brain trust, which is now being exploited. And so many schemes are there, and you have seen the exhibition how they are cooperating in technology, Swadesh, and now India is emerging as a very major country. And going up to 2050, I think we will be the major country providing the skilled manforce. So that is something very important that Prime Minister has also outlined, and I think this shows how important the Indian diaspora's role in our developmental journey likely to be.
Could you tell us a little bit more on how already the Indian diaspora, apart from remittances, you mentioned that, and the diaspora is 34.5 million strong the world over, how has it already contributed to this quest or this goal that has been set for 2047 to make India a developed nation?
Well, number one, if you see the remittances, they are
Yes.
about $125 billion a year, which is nearly one-fourth of your foreign currency exchange, of which about 60, 70 billion comes from the Middle East alone. And all these countries, how they have worked it. They are the ones, as I mentioned earlier to you, the IT. Likewise, in the financial sector. Now, most of these Indians are working in in big positions in major companies in the world. So they know what is the opportunity in India. So of course they are working for their companies. But when a question of choosing a country where to expand your operations, then obviously they can play a very major role, and they have indeed played a great role. Most of the financial companies from the Western countries are operating in India and are and from other parts of the world, West and Gulf also. Likewise, more than a large number of companies which have established 12,000 or so have, let's say, UAE, they have set up their businesses. So that's why UAE has emerged your third largest trading partner. So the Indians are likewise in the science and technology, R&D field. They are investing in India. They're looking at opportunities. They are buying companies. They are helping you in your Make in India campaign. And as rightly Prime Minister mentioned, that perhaps they will one day come in the Made in India plane to visit for the PBD. So that is there, but they need to be part of the developmental journey of India going towards Viksit Bharat in a way that they also benefit a great deal because there are no free lunches in this world. Wherever these NRIs or others come, they also look for opportunities. There is special dispensation has been created for them.
And,
They
and a
have the
lot of people among the Indian diaspora, they're not only into businesses in position to invest, they're professionals, but they are now coming into positions where they become actual decision makers in government. Some have become heads of government and heads of state as well. So that is a very pointed sort of suggestion for such people as well. Even we're hearing that something might be in the air as far as the next ruler of Canada is concerned.
Well, you see, we already had in the UK, as you know, the Prime Minister, Sunak.
Yes.
We had in Ireland, we had an
In
Indian
the US, a
origin
vice
Prime Minister
president.
in Portugal as well, and a large number of Caribbean countries, and then, of course, Mauritius and other different countries, we had people. But more importantly, I would say that there are a very large number of people who come and study in India, especially from Africa. At a given time, there were about 13 heads of state or government who were there in African countries, and that owes a great deal to our Africa policy in that sense. So I think that it works both ways. The ones they go, they know India, they like India, they work here, they have good experiences. Then the bridge building becomes. And of course, gradually, all these people are politically very savvy. They are also becoming, in fact, even if not necessarily the leaders themselves, but they can be kingmakers very often in certain Western countries. So we are seeing a great change. Of course, another vice president, previous vice president of US was of Indian origin. Now the wife of the current vice president, JD Vance, is also of Indian origin.
That's
So
probably
I
more
think that the
important than the
Indians are,
vice president.
yes. So that's an interesting development. Yes.
Certainly, certainly. Thank you for joining us and talking about it, Ambassador
Thank you.
Tugunad,
Thank you, Gautam.
the import of the Indian diaspora spreading its wings and, of course, now also contributing to the development of India into a developed nation. That is a goal that has been set for 2047, and we can only expect that their contributions will grow more and more as that deadline sort of approaches.